The Douglas DC-4 is a four-engine propeller-driven airliner developed by the Douglas Aircraft Company. It served during World War II, in the Berlin Airlift and into the 1960s in a military role. From 1945, many civil airlines operated it worldwide. Design and development. After the DC-4E proved to be complicated to maintain and uneconomical, Douglas responded to the Eastern and United requests for a smaller and simpler replacement. Before the definitive DC-4 could enter service, the outbreak of World War II caused production to be channeled to the United States Army Air Forces, whose aircraft were designated C-54 Skymaster, with U.S. Navy aircraft designated Douglas R-5D. The first, a C-54, flew from Clover Field in Santa Monica, California on February 14, 1942. The DC-4's tricycle landing gear allowed its fuselage to have a constant cross-section for most of its length, so it could easily be stretched into the later DC-6 and DC-7. 1,163 C-54 per Rankine 5DS were built for the United States military between 1942 and January 1946. 79 DC-4s were built post-war. Operational history. The DC-4 per 54 proved a popular and reliable type, 1245 being built between May 1942 and August 1947, including 79 post-war DC-4s. Several remain in service as of 2014. One current operator is Buffalo Airways of Yellowknife, Northwest Territories. Douglas continued to develop the type during the war in preparation for a return to airline use when peace returned. The type's sales prospects were affected when 500 wartime ex-military C-54s and R-5DS came onto the civil market, many being converted to DC-4 standard by Douglas. DC-4s were a favorite of charter airlines such as Great Lakes Airlines, North American Airlines, Universal Airlines and Transocean Airlines. In the 1950s, Transocean was the largest civil C-54/DC-4 operator. Douglas produced 79 new-build DC-4s between January 1946 and August 9, 1947, the last example being delivered to South African Airways. Pressurization was an option, but all civil DC-4s were built unpressurized. Purchasers of new-build DC-4s included Pan American Airways, National Airlines, Northwest Airlines and Western Airlines in the USA, and KLM Royal Dutch Airlines, Scandinavian Airlines System, Iberia Airlines of Spain, Swissair, Air France, Sabena Belgian World Airlines, Cubana de Aviación Cuben, Avianca, Aerolíneas Argentinas, Aeropostal of Venezuela and South African Airways Overseas. Several airlines used new-build DC-4s to start scheduled transatlantic flights between Latin America and Europe. Among the earliest were Aerolíneas Argentinas, Aeropostal of Venezuela, Iberia Airlines of Spain, and Cubana de Aviación Cuben. Basic prices for a new DC-4 in 1946 July was around £140,000 or £160,000. In 1960 used DC-4s were available for around £80,000. Variants. DC-4, main production airliner, post-war. Canadair North Star, Canadian production of a Rolls-Royce Merlin, powered variant, plus a single Pratt & Whitney Air 2800, powered aircraft. Notable appearances in media. The DC-4 featured extensively in the 1954 John Wayne motion picture The High and the Mighty. A DC-4 appears as the amalgamated airliner that must be piloted by stewardess Doris Day in the 1956 thriller Julie. The DC-4 was used for the 1957 thriller 0 Hour. Operators. Accidents and incidents. Survivors. Very few DC-4s remain in service today. The last two passenger DC-4s operating worldwide are based in Johannesburg, South Africa. They fly with old South African Airways colors. They are ZSAUB Autonica, and ZSBMH Libombo, and are owned by the South African Airways Museum Society and operated by Ski Class Aviation, a company specializing in classic and VIP charters to exotic destinations in Africa. A 1944-built DC-4 is currently being restored in New South Wales, Australia. Buffalo Airways in Canada operates roughly a dozen DC-4s for hauling cargo and aerial firefighting. A 1945-built DC-4 CN 27370 is currently operating as a flying museum to the Berlin Airlift. Called the Spirit of Freedom, it has been touring the world for nearly 20 years. Specifications. General characteristics: crew, 4, capacity, 40 to 80 passengers, length, 93 feet 10 inches, wingspan, 117 feet 6 in, height, 27 feet 6 in, wing area, 1,460 FTA squared, empty weight, 43,300 pounds, loaded weight, 63,500 pounds, max takeoff weight, 73,000 pounds, power plant, 4, Pratt & Whitney A2000 radial engine, 1,450 horsepower each, performance, maximum speed, 280 miles per hour, cruise speed, 227 miles per hour / 197 kts, range, 4,250 miles, service ceiling, 22,300 feet, wing loading, 43.5 pounds FTA squared, power mass, 10.9 pounds per horsepower. See also, related development, Aviation Traders Curva, Canadair North Star, Douglas DC-4E, Douglas C-54 Skymaster, Douglas DC-6, Douglas DC-7, aircraft of comparable role, configuration and era, Boeing 307, Lockheed Constellation, Lockheed LO-49 Constellation, related lists, list of airliners, list of aircraft. References, notes. Bibliography. External links, Vintage Wings of Canada Canadair North Star showing our Merlin installation, Life magazine photos by Elliot Elisafan of first production batch of DC-4s being completed as military C-54s, and including early air-to-air photos of 42 to 1 to 37 the first DC-4 per carat 54 to fly.